being issued, and this is for the wave viewing area. We also have the tornado warning just outside of our viewing area in Lawrence County. I am going to talk about that in a second. Let's tackle the warning that we have for us, and you're going to notice this severe thunderstorm warning expanding over into Orange County. That's going to include Paoli, French Lick. Again, this has potential to produce some very strong winds and very large hail. Wind speeds up to 70 miles per hour with this. We're going to let you watch the golf game, but over the course of the next few minutes at least, we're going to talk about these thunderstorms that are going on. They have the potential to be very strong today, producing not just the strong winds, but also tornadoes and very large hail. It's the reason we're tracking these storms on this Sunday afternoon. It's the reason we're here to sort of keep you safe and walk you through what's happening. Obviously, we had that round of storms move through this morning, and now we're starting to see that destabilization. Once those storms moved through, the sun immediately came out. We've got a lot of moisture content in the atmosphere. As the afternoon and evening wear on, we're going to increase the shear, the low-level jet stream, and what that means is these storms will begin to rotate as they continue to develop across the area. That in turn means that we could have larger hail, in some cases larger than baseball size hail. It's not out of the question on a day like today, and the potential for tornadoes. So let's jump into the radar view. We have the severe thunderstorm warning, but we also have, as we've mentioned, the tornado warning just off to our north. So I'm going to zoom into that quadrant. It's these folks who will be impacted first, obviously, as these storms move in. So we've already noted Bloomington with a tornado warning. There's Bedford. This is Lawrence County. Again, just outside of the viewing area. Tornado warning, and you can sort of see what is the hook echo showing up. So this would be it's a radar indicated storm, very rural area. We could have a tornado with this storm, and it's moving right into the Bedford area. If you're listening to us from Bedford, you should be in your tornado safe place. You need to take shelter from this storm. We are seeing the signs that this storm continues to show intensification. Story to the south is strong winds and the potential for hail. I'm going to look at each of those components in a minute as well. Then we'll get some street level tracking on this. But again, as these storms move off to the east at a fairly fast pace, they're running into an environment that is just completely untapped, meaning the heat is there. That's the energy source. The moisture is there. Likewise, another energy source. We've got the lift as this front back to the west continues to move in our direction, and this will be the focal point for some of these storms to develop. Any of these storms that develop this afternoon will have that potential not only to produce a tornado, but to produce strong tornadoes, meaning that they're dealing with the environment around them, and they can continue to grow and stay on the ground for quite some time. So that's what we're watching. That's why we wanted to sort of break in with nonstop coverage, because of this storm right here, that while it's technically in Lawrence County, just now moving into the county, it is going to be moving into parts of Jackson County and possibly northern parts of Washington County in Indiana. So let's sort of pick this storm apart, and then, as I mentioned, Jessica's going to give us sort of the breakdown of the communities involved as we go into that street level tracking. I want to first show you what's happening in terms of the velocity. And I'm going to take the radar reflectivity off, and you can see this is the velocity. We measure winds going toward and away from the radar. It's both speed and direction, hence the velocity terminology. And you'll notice, as I'm just going to draw on here, where we have the greatest couplets. First of all, this storm strengthening just a bit. That's showing some signs of rotation. No tornado warning with that, but very strong winds. That's a pocket of very strong wind that's moving into the western parts, northwestern parts of Orange County. We do have the couplet showing up here, and that's likewise some rotation that's moving into Lawrence County. Those are the two areas of strongest winds that we're tracking. And of course, as you get up toward Bloomington, that's another blast of strong wind there, that also being tornado warned. Any of these storms that have severe thunderstorm warnings with them could at any moment go tornado warned. You're seeing the update come out on the one that's moving into Lawrence County as it's sort of trimmed back. Still a tornado warning that goes until 5 o'clock for that storm. So 30 more minutes on that warning. Now, it's not just the wind and the rotation we're worried about. Obviously, when we go into the radar view, I'm going to pull up the hail tracker. And you're going to notice as we go into our scopes that when we look at hail, these storms have the potential. Here comes a new severe thunderstorm warning, giving lead time to those people in the path. So let me go to that first, and then we'll jump back to the hail potential. You can see that the tornado warning includes Brown, Monroe, and Morgan. Again, just south of that, we have the severe thunderstorm warning. And that, again, is one that we have to watch that could go tornado warned at any point. I'm just going to move this over so you can see it because it comes down into northern Jackson County. So that's the severe thunderstorm warning in our viewing area approaching the Freetown area. Brownstown would be next in line. All of these storms have that potential to produce the wind, the tornadoes, and the hail. And that's where we left you a while ago, is talking about that hail potential. So back to our scopes we go, and I'm going to put on the hail scope. And I'm going to take each of these storms one at a time just to show you. Now on the reflectivity, when we're looking for hail, we're looking for objects that return the beam back to the radar as a bright color. And that's where we start to see these purples. And you can see those shaded there. Little hail there showing up. And right down toward Halbert. So let's take a look at this hail tracker. And we're going to see that hail could be a problem. And you'll notice those deeper colors. You start to get quarter, almost ping pong ball size hail passing by Bloomington. Let me make that just a little smaller, and then we'll just grab it and move it down. Again, a little bit of hail moving into northern parts of Lawrence County. That's north of Bedford. We sort of scan over. That storm's developing. We can see some nickel-sized hail with that. Again, this is all radar estimated, and there's some large hail there, up to ping-pong ball-sized hail, moving closer toward Orange County. Let's go over to Jessica Dobson. She's been close up inside these storms, looking at some of the communities and the timeline of impact. Jessica?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these storms show features of rotation, which that's not what we typically want to see, but that's what can lead to a tornado warning. But we have several areas, places like Pleasant Valley. You should certainly be in your safe place, not only for the potential of hail, heavy rain, gusty winds, but also for the potential of a possible tornado. I feel like a warning is probably going to be issued before long for this one. Also near Natchez, Halbert, and Roland, you guys should definitely be in your safe place as well. This is just to the north of what looks like Windsor and Lost River. So this storm, it is certainly packing a punch as it's moving through. It's kind of in between radar sites, so that's why it looks a little different as we toggle it back and forth. But we're going to continue to watch it. We've got several of these kind of lined up, and they're going to continue to work their way to the south and east, and more of these warnings will likely be issued. So it's just a good idea, especially if you are in southern Indiana, just to go ahead, head inside, stay put, be prepared for whatever is going to be coming our way. It looks like, Kevin, we just got a tornado warning on the storm I mentioned to you near, looks like near Henderson Falls and Pleasant Valley. That's going to be included in that tornado warning.
Okay, and that's right along Indiana 550. So that, again, is the one that we've been keeping a close eye on. Let me just put the radar back on. We'll take off the scopes, and there you can see it. And again, it's just outside of the Orange County area. Comes down toward Halbert, Rust. That's the zone we're watching. You can see the hook on the backside of that storm starting to show up. That's the inflow into the storm. All of these are almost signature sort of storms in terms of those hook echoes that we see. You can notice even on the one that's moving across Lawrence County, moving into Lawrence County, somewhat of a hook on that. This one's showing signs. Oftentimes it's the southernmost storm that gets the most energy because as the feeding of the winds go into that storm, it robs some of the ones that stack up just north. So this would be one to watch as it moves closer to the Orange County area. While Orange County is technically under a severe thunderstorm warning, that tornadic storm and the sort of hook on that storm is showing up
Grandma,
to your west.
you're sipping out three.
Treat that as a tornado warning. Get in your lowest level. The tornado safe place is the best place to be. When we look at the big board, we have just severe thunderstorm warnings to talk about. The tornado warning to our north in Lawrence County is technically, we have a lot of viewers in Lawrence County. Technically, that's Indianapolis's viewing area, but we're going to keep you safe too. You know, a lot of people depend on us there, and that's why we're on. Again, Jackson and Orange counties with the severe thunderstorm warnings. Temperatures are very warm. You look out where we have the strongest of the severe weather going on. It's 90 degrees in Jasper right now. We've had no power outages yet, but that may change as these storms continue to strengthen. The tornado tornado watch is what's in place, and that goes until 11 o'clock tonight. A 28-mile-per-hour wind in Evansville is what we have. And when we look at the lightning and the radar view, I'm going to go back to that and show you that, yes, there's a lot of lightning with these storms as they pass through. Again, noting that the warning is for Davis, Greene, Lawrence, and Martin counties. That tornado is observed now, so that's a change from being radar indicated to actually being on the ground. And that's what we were fearful of today, is that these storms would blast through and you don't have a lot of time once they hit the ignition point, because boom, they go up and then they are already rotating once they begin. And with that, that's what we're already seeing. I'm going to put the radar only on, so I'm going to take off. Let me go back. Sorry about that. Let's go back. Select draw here. And then we'll go back to the radar view. With that, we're going to take the lightning off, take the warnings off. You can see the warnings where they stack up. Each of these storms actually have tornadoes that are on the ground to the north. The only one that is still radar indicated is the one that's moving closer to the Orange County area. Additional storms starting to fire on the southern side of this line back across southern Illinois near where all the states meet, Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. So you can see those storms producing severe thunderstorm warnings. Additional storms are going to fill in on this line, and that's what's going to be moving across our viewing area through the evening hours. So this isn't going to be over anytime soon. We're just now at the peak heating of the day. Louisville, our temperature is 87. We're feeding on these very warm temperatures. You can see the thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings that are going on. Out of Indiana, Johnson County is now starting to see some of that damage from the storms. We knew we had a tornado on the ground. Just going to slide the radar down just a bit. We'll get Indianapolis, on the south side of Indianapolis, tornado warnings, and then the bulk of those are moving closer to our viewing areas. These jog off to the east with a slight movement to the south. Those are going to impact our viewing area. Again, that's why we're watching these storms so closely. For those that are watching golf, still on the screen, we have to be on to pass along life-saving information to those that watch us across southern Indiana. And you can see the new warnings that continue to come out. This is going to be the process through the afternoon. It's really just watching the radar and warning people in the path of these storms. The severe thunderstorm warning now includes Seymour. So